Welcome to the 2024 introductory video to the Netherlands for the study abroad program. Are you considering study abroad for 2024? Well, then maybe this video would be of interest to you. Is it the case that your own department, even though you want to go study abroad, does not have a program? Well, maybe this is a viable alternative. And I have to say that over the last 10 years, I have taken some pride in the fact that I have been able to keep the cost down. Are you planning to go to Europe this summer anyway? Okay, the airfare typically is 50% of the entire study abroad program. So you need 120 hours to graduate. You want to pick up 3 credit hours and then stay in Europe afterwards. That would be a good, nice little synergy. You know, you can combine the two efforts. All right. Well, you're from West Michigan, although increasingly we have more students from Oakland County. But if you are from the western part of the state, maybe in your ancestry there is some Dutch blood there. Maybe that would be a reason to connect, just out of curiosity. So this study abroad is incredibly interdisciplinary. You know, it's geography, but it's also regional planning, urban regional planning. It is environmental studies, and environmental studies students have been a big part of this program. Natural resource management, anthropology, sociology, history, international relations. The topics all sort of are part of this study abroad. Now, it's a fairly exclusive study abroad. We only have space for 14 students. That's basically due to the 2 vans that we use. We're 16, 17 days in duration. Sometimes I add a day because I can lower the airfare by $400 or $500, as was the case last summer. And then, as I pointed out, I've had students stay for 6 weeks afterwards and traveled. Sometimes just an extra weekend. So it really sort of depends on the financial situation. Do you have relatives there? Sometimes, I have parents fly over and they join, on the study, the travels in Europe. We are destined to visit between 20 and 25 unique locations. These are locations that are not typically available to tourists, private individuals. They are by arrangements, so that makes it somewhat unique. I've maintained contacts with folks that I went to high school with, and they are, a large part of the program, some local Dutchies. So we're talking about sustainable landscape planning and resource management in Dutch society. And, so there's a sociology aspect to that. There's a physical aspect to that. There is a geography, land use aspect to that. There is an anthropological aspect to that. There's a sociological aspect to that. There is a big environmental aspect to it, and also an historical. Then we have the free weekends. We are mobile and flexible because we have 2 9-passenger vans, but I try to keep it down to 8 per van. Once we get there, all food is included, including on the weekends if folks are there during the weekend. So always good breakfast. We typically pack a lunch, and then there is always a 3-course meal dinner at night. We stay in the same place. We don't move around. So once you unpack, you sort of get to stay in the same room, although we've had switch rooms in the past, but in the same building for the entire duration. And we're in a small town, very walkable, and very safe. So I have very, very little to worry about. And then in the past, I've been able to localize some of the students' experiences. I've had the students job shadow with the local police department. I've had students job shadow in the local hospital. I can't guarantee that, but that has been possible in the past. And then study abroad is the only option for freshmen and sophomores to get general ed issues credit. I don't think it's fair, but that's the way it is. Normally you have to be a junior or senior, but you can take this course as a issues course. And then for geography majors, it can count as the capstone as a 496. With permission of Professor Zwart, it can count as the capstone for group social studies. So that's nice. And then you can take it as GPY 381, ENS 381, PNH 380, and Sociology 382. And depending on your arrangements, with the permission of the chair, it can be counted as a natural resource majors course, or it can also count towards international relations. So highly interdisciplinary and quite flexible. So the basics for 24, okay, it's right at the beginning of summer too. We leave right after summer 1. Leaving on the 19th or the 20th, coming back on the 5th, or of course you can stay. 16 days total, 2 travel days to and from, and then we have 4 days off based typically weekends, and then 10 field trip days. And then of course there is the Eurail for people that want to stay afterwards and travel Europe. Pointed out the cross listings, and then the tuition is not going up. Remember, I think 10 years ago tuition was $1,300. Program fee, primarily because of the airfare. I think the lowest we've gotten across was $900, and last summer it was $1,600. So the airfare, is a big part. That's why, if it's $1,600, that's just about half of the cost here. And then there are some financial aid options. Typically, you have to carry 6 hours during the summer in order to make that work. Application deadline, February 1st of next year. And then there are some websites that you can look at as well. So, example of what we travel in. This is a VW 9-passenger diesel. I don't like the VWs. The Vivaro, Opel, or even the Renault, or even the Ford Transits. They're a little bit bigger, and the gas mileage is just as good. Here we're coming in early in the morning, flying over the beach. This is like 5 minutes before landing at the Schiphol airport. Here's a little map of the Netherlands. We're staying right here. So we're not staying in Amsterdam or Rotterdam or The Hague. We're staying in the North Dakota of the Netherlands. And yes, if you're familiar with West Michigan, Friesland, Groningen, Drenthe, Overijssel are all town names surrounding the city of Holland. So, just some impressions. We will be spending 1 day in Rotterdam. Variety of options possible there. I have a connection with a local geographer there that has helped us out in the last few years. Sometimes we take a tour, sometimes we don't. Some unique agricultural land use. If you are a geographer or sociologist, maybe you know about Walter Christaller. Here's about 150,000 acres that did not exist prior to 1940. So this is new land. They added 1,300 farms, created a big town here, and then you got these satellite towns surrounding it. And this is all, these distances are based on bicycle. But let's not get into the details here. We visit farms. This is one of the most sustainable farms in the Netherlands, in that area. High tech, their own methane digester. These farmers they have an engineering background. Then we're looking at alternative energy supplies, and this is very controversial because they produce a lot of energy, but the locals don't like it. They think it's ugly, noisy, and visually, not very good. Getting in and out of the reclaimed areas, you can see here's a boat coming in, and then they come up about 20 feet, and then they can go out again. But it's just part of the infrastructure. Looking at pre-industrial coastal landscapes, this is kind of an outdoor collection of structures, and it has a lot of unique details that can be looked at. And of course, this is from 2015. Okay, I have to look. And here I am with Katie. One of those inserts where you can climb behind a costume and look goofy. And in a 1930s classroom. So this part of that same outdoor museum. Then we go to one of the barrier islands here. We're the only Americans that visit here. And, it's an hour and a half boat trip across to the other side. And this is from 2015 as well. And here we are on the island. We are meeting in the council's chamber presentation. This lady did it in 2014. She since has passed due to cancer, but she was so excellent to find a replacement that we have been able to continue to go there. Here we're standing right there in front of the lighthouse. That's the highest dune, and the lighthouse is still used. Amsterdam Central Train Station. We'll be there the first day, and while we're there, we'll do the older downtown part of Amsterdam. There's some interesting stuff to be pointed out, typically not known by locals. Then, from the old town of Amsterdam to a brand new town that didn't exist 50 years ago. What do you do when you build a new town for 250,000 people? How do you organize it? What do you, where do the stores go? The schools, the hospitals? Is it walkable? How do you arrange for transportation, parking? There are some successes here, but they made mistakes. But again, that's a story all by itself. Same town again. Some interesting architecture. Some people think it's ugly. Some people really think it's cool. Kind of a taste. This is an overflow for Amsterdam. Then we have been going to the recycling center, or the upcycling center. Last year was very good. And depending on how the program unfolds, we will do some neighborhood visits as well. Last year we went to a new neighborhood I'd never been to. Kind of wild and crazy. Almost look American. Okay, Water management. Here is a heritage site, the Wouda pumping station. Kind of an artifact almost of World War I. Fully steam operated, except they have replaced the coal and they now use diesel fuel. And, it's part of the water management. Here are the steam pressure kettles that it takes about 8 hours to pressurize before they can start moving water. But it can move water, and it will lower the water table in an area of several 100,000 square acres. Here's the National Geographic yellow square. This facility was featured in a National Geographic special. And the pumping station is right there. We're staying right there. But this barrier dam also is kind of an interesting feature that we visit. Last summer it was off limits because this whole area, this is the high site, this is salt water, this is fresh water. The high site, they added 5 feet to this dike, to this barrier dam, due to climate change. So sometimes, we have to go with the flow. But there is a monument right in the middle because they built from 2 sides, and where they connected, they have this little tower. Then we look at water management going back in time. Too much to talk about there. Then in the last 3 years, we have added the floating farm in Rotterdam to our schedule. Floating farm. Why would you want to float a farm in one of the largest international ports in the world? Well, it's a unique story. They got their own energy supply. Milk is processed down below into butter and buttermilk and cheese. All the cows are milked by robots, fully automated. And then there's an interesting story to go along with that. This is where we are staying. This is an old youth hostel. Here's the dining space, the front entrance, and then there is other space that they rent out. They have their own private little bar, sitting area, library. This is the owner guy. He's a Brit, and on the weekends and after our daily travels, students kick back and enjoy. And of course, there are some things in the Netherlands from a drinking age perspective that are possible, unlike the United States. I think drinking age is 16, let's put it that way. People go out, people play card games, shovelboards, whatever, try some unique Dutch desserts. This is the courtyard behind. These are the rooms, and behind us, the owner now moved in and lives upstairs. But yeah, people hang out. And then the last night, we have a big going away dinner, which is an Indonesian, a collection of Indonesian dishes from the various Indonesian islands. It's kind of a colonial thing for the Dutch. So this was also 2015, and this is 2017-18. So yeah, it's we have kind of a cadre of students that are kind of alumni now of the program, and here's a person I went to high school with, and she has been giving the tours on the first day. We have a couple faculty at the University of Groningen. This part has been a real big part of the trip. Where last summer we went out and went on a 15-mile bike ride in this area. And then Almere, we had, Paul Makel. He was available last. Here's Paul right there. He again provided an excellent tour of the downtown area. And then, sometimes the program varies depending on availability. In the Upcycle Center, Hank Martins has retired now, but his replacement did an excellent job. This is the person that replaced the lady on Vlieland, Henno. He's my age, so we're both looking at retirement, but for the next, at least next summer and maybe the year afterwards, he's still willing to entertain our group. And we have Vincent. He's kind of an interesting dude. He's an ex-farmer, entrepreneur, studied in Wisconsin and Texas for a year when he was a lot younger, so that's 40 years ago. But he has a very interesting, unique presentation dealing with the local area. So again, this is no longer available. I have to call him and say, Vincent, can you please put in a repeat performance? And he goes, well, I haven't done it because after, we had 3 years of COVID. And he goes, okay, I'll do it. And then, we're off to the races again. So, lots of locals that make it work. And then these are a married couple that run the Meppel Inn. And this is Jan, the driver of the second van. He's married to a niece of mine who lives in that town, so he's kind of part of the secret. So, and then there is Marcel, who is the proprietor of the hangout where students like to go, and he has been helpful as well in the past. All right, so this is kind of a 20-minute overview of the study abroad. Gives you a sense of what we're trying to do, and just go to the Patnos Pick website, and of course I'm going to attach this YouTube link to the introductory information as well, so you will be able to find it there. All right, very good. Got any questions, please contact me and we'll make it happen.